This is a conversation I've been having quite a bit recently. People coming to me, women coming to me and saying, I'm trying to explain or tell. And I listen for a little bit and then I realize, what? The other person that they're trying to talk to is stuck in survival mode. You cannot logic with someone else's nervous system. They cannot logic with your nervous system, and you can't even logic with your own nervous system. So if you've ever walked away from a conversation thinking to yourself, why did I freeze up? Why couldn't I get the words out? Why did that person react that way? None of those responses are about logic or intelligence. None of that is about like how mature you are or how much you have accomplished in your life. None of it is about trying hard enough or not trying hard enough. What that's about is biology. What that's about is survival. What that is about is how you were designed. I'm going to say it again. That's how you were designed. This way of being that so often gets in our way is actually how we're designed. Because we were designed for survival. Our nervous system is all about survival. So have you ever tried to explain to someone calmly? Like you're trying to explain something to them and you're doing it calmly. Maybe a spouse, maybe a coworker, maybe a sibling, maybe even a parent. And suddenly everything derailed. I have experienced this in my own marriage. I have experienced this with other members of my family. Not so much in the workplace. Well, yeah, I have experienced it in the workplace too. They would get defensive. I would shut down and logic would leave the building. And it was like that. Like it didn't even take any time. It just was like immediate. I tried to explain something. That person got triggered, got defensive. I would shut down. Everything would go sideways. Because in that moment, their nervous system decided that I was a threat. Their nervous system decided that I was a threat. It wasn't a thought process. It was their nervous system. And it wasn't because I was a threat. It was because something in their history, something in their story, something in their body, in their nervous system, in their energy said, I've seen this before and I need to protect myself. These are implicit responses. It is automatic. It's not something that they think about. The nervous system takes over and says, protect, danger, danger, Will Robbins, danger. Boom, survival takes over. I once had a client say to me, oh my gosh, I knew exactly what I should have said 3 days after the conversation was over. That happens because in the moment, your nervous system took over and the prefrontal cortex, the logic part of your brain, shut off. We can't logic our way through survival mode. We can't access reasoning. We can't advocate for ourselves. We can't think strategically. We cannot access options when we're in survival mode. And I want you to know this is actually how your nervous system is designed. The thing is, those implicit responses take over, those automatic responses happen. And when that happens, everything shuts off. But I also want you to know we can rewire that outdated system. We can upgrade. It is possible. to upgrade to a new operating system so that those old neural pathways aren't taking over. So when Jesus said, I leave my peace with you, my peace, I give it to you. What this was is he was giving us the tools for regulation, the tools to regulate our nervous system, the tools to tell your body, stand down, you're safe. Peace is a physiological state. Peace has nothing to do with what is going on around you. Peace is not an absence of chaos. Peace is a physiological state. The problem is, so many of us, most women, have no idea what peace feels like anymore. It's been so long. So, why doesn't logic work when someone's nervous system takes over? Well, when the nervous system is activated, and this is physiology, this isn't woo woo science or anything like that. It's just physiology. It's how our bodies work. When the central nervous system takes over, when you go into sympathetic mode, your heart rate goes up, your danger center, the amygdala, screams danger, danger, Will Robbins, danger, Will Robbins. The body floods with cortisol, and the reasoning part of your brain goes offline, because trying to reason with someone who is in survival mode, whether it's you're trying to reason with someone else or you're trying to reason with yourself, how many times have you said to yourself, just get over it. I shouldn't be feeling this way. What's my problem? When someone's in survival mode, it's like trying to teach calculus to someone whose house is on fire. It doesn't make sense. Logic is not what is needed. What is needed is safety, presence, and attunement. Attunement is what helps us regulate. So what can you do? What can you do in the moment when you feel that sympathetic system come online? Number one is name what's happening. Like, not out loud to the other person. Don't look at them and go, this is exactly what's happening right now, because that just feels like judgment, right? We're not going to name it out loud. We're just going to name it to ourselves. Like, oh, this really isn't about what is happening. This is a nervous system response, whether it's my nervous system or their nervous system or both of our nervous systems, right? This isn't about the topic. It's about the nervous system response. Just name it. No shame, no judgment, just awareness, just awareness, just awareness. This is a nervous system response. And then offer your body a new cue, right? A slow breath through the nose. Not a seething breath, right? Not that. Just a slow breath through the nose, hand over the heart, feet pressing into the ground. Feel the ground beneath you. And then maybe whisper a regulating prayer to yourself. Lord, you are my peace. Help me regulate my mind and body. This tells your body that the danger that it is perceiving is not real. And then practice regulation every day. Most of the time, we wait to regulate our nervous systems until we are already in a crisis. That doesn't work. I think back to my military training, like basic training. What's it all about? It's about tearing down the individual and raising up a soldier. But part of that also is the training. When I was in tech school to be a security forces officer, it was repetition, repetition, repetition. This is how you do this certain thing. And we would do it over and over and over and over again before we ever needed to use it. We would do it over and over and over again before we ever needed it, so that when it came time for whatever that skill was, it was automatic. It's a muscle memory. So practice regulation every day. Take some time every day, weave it into the rhythm of your day so that your nervous system can recognize the cue in the moment. And it like, just like muscle memory, it goes, oh, that's what that breath is for, to calm me down. Practice it when you don't need it. This is part of the peace restoration method that I teach my clients. This is rest in action. Rest is learning how to regulate your nervous system when you don't need it, so that it becomes automatic, it becomes muscle memory. Instead of that old implicit memory that turns on your sympathetic system, it becomes a new memory that turns on the parasympathetic system, that rest and digest system. So that's regulating yourself. How can you handle other people's dysregulation? Well, you can't handle it with logic, but you can help to co-regulate them. This is not a long-term solution. Sometimes we just need something in the moment, and this is great in the moment. We can help to co-regulate that person. But I do want you to hear, it is not your responsibility to co-regulate all the people around you. It is not your responsibility to make sure that they are regulated. That's on them. But sometimes we need it in the moment, right? So you can ground yourself in that moment. And when you stay calm, their nervous system recognizes the calmness. It might not be right away. Sometimes it takes time, but they will recognize, their nervous system will recognize the calmness in you, and their nervous system will begin to match your nervous system of calm. And your peace kind of becomes the thermostat in the situation. So we can feed off of each other's dysregulation, or I can be the calming thermostat. I can be the calming force in the interaction. Again, I want you to hear this. It is not your responsibility to constantly regulate someone else. That's on them. They need to learn how to do that. But sometimes in the moment, we need this. So this is why it matters so much for you to practice self-regulation when you don't need regulation. Because when you become whole, when you become regulated, when you're not a slave to your central nervous system, it's a blessing to those around you. It's a blessing to those who are connected to you, because their nervous system, it's not a conscious thought, but their nervous system recognizes that you are a source of peace instead of a source of chaos. Peace can return even if you don't ever remember experiencing peace in your life. It is absolutely possible to experience peace. And your body will follow your spirit. We are not physical beings with a spirit. We are spirit beings inhabiting a physical body. The spirit is the leader, not the body. But so many of us are so dysregulated that it feels like our body is in charge. That's what we need to rewire. We want to get your spirit online, operating first, and your body will follow. Your nervous system is a gift from God. It's not a curse. It may feel like it is, but I promise you it is not. He did not mean for you to live trapped inside survival mode your whole life. He desires peace for you. He desires life for you, and he desires light in you. We can't have those things if our nervous systems are running our lives.